Master Grade Aegis. Well, let's put it this way. I was thinking that this guy is going to be very finicky, very problematic, big problems with the balance and falling parts and all that sort of stuff. But you know what? This guy has actually surprised me. Maybe it's just my kit, but I am very happy with the way this guy is finally put together. I don't have any falling pieces. I don't have any finicky parts. I don't have any of that stuff, luckily. The only problem that I do have is this joint over here. This shoulder joint is very, very loose. I have no idea why. I've checked to make sure the poly cap's in there properly. You know, it's just loose. It's for some reason it doesn't go in properly. Well, technically it does. It does go in, but it's a very loose fit. So while moving things around and just playing with it, it just comes off. This one, for example, is perfectly fine. Absolutely no issues whatsoever. But it's just the other one. I have no idea why it does that. The transformation itself, okay, fine. It is a Gundam. It's not your Transformer or anything like that, but it's fine. It's not too bad. It's as expected. There are a couple of bad points, but there's a lot of good points as well. So let's get started. Okay, so now in terms of color scheme, this guy is very, very pink. It was expected. It's right on the box. It's from the anime, so I don't mind. But it is very pink. I mean, the main colors that you have are this, I want to say magenta slash pinky color, and the entire Gundam is literally just that. The only exception to that are a couple of the white pieces and a couple of the yellow pieces. That's about it. Then you have a grayish color for the inner skeleton, and you've got a couple of the dark blue parts, which are basically for the feet over down here, these ones, and also the top parts of the side skirts. That's pretty much it as far as the color scheme goes. So you're not going to get that much. If you want to do more, you are going to have to paint up this guy. Now, in terms of balance and articulation, this guy's not bad. Honestly, he's not that bad. The only big problem are the side skirts. Now, hopefully this thing's not going to fall off. But the main issue are these side skirts. These side skirts and the backpack make this guy very back heavy, which means when this guy is standing down, he is going to be very much forward bendy to counteract the balance and kind of give it some kind of, you know, place where he stands. But once he stands, then he's going to be standing. You've got no issues whatsoever. It's just that if you take these side skirts off, then it'll make his life a lot easier and you're not going to be moving around. But apart from that, that's pretty much gone already. Okay, but apart from, you know, these huge side skirts, everything else is perfectly fine. This guy does have some pretty good articulation, as expected. He's a master grade, and he's got nothing wrong with the balance. Everything works perfectly. He's got sturdy joints. He's got good mobility in his whole entire body. The only thing is because of the transformation values and what he needs to do to be able to transform, there are a couple of hindrances in terms of articulation. But apart from that, he's really cool. He's got absolutely nothing going on that's, you know, you can say, okay, this is shit. But everything else is really good, and he's got a couple of really nice points. Couple of small things that I really like, and we'll come back to that. Okay, so basically in terms of articulation, the arms or the shoulders go all the way around. That's not an issue. Just be a little bit careful of this guy here, because if you can see, this thing kind of stops into this point. So that's the only issue. But if you move it around, he will go 360. Now, this is a first for me. I have never actually seen a Gundam done this way. So normally, if you can imagine, you have the hole for the shoulder here, and then this part plugs in over here, like any other typical Gundam. This guy is not like that. He actually, because of the transformation, has something else. It's almost like he's got the thigh part sticking out over there, and he plugs into the body on the midway down here, which is very cool. I've never seen that, but it gives him a little bit of additional mobility in his shoulders. So in his mobile suit mode, he does have a little bit more articulation. The arms themselves do go a little bit high, not that bad. So the shoulder is pretty good. And then the arms itself, if you move this guy out of the way, can go all the way in as well. So he does have a fair bit of movement in the arms, which is not bad at all. Come back to that part later, not right now. Okay, the arms themselves are, again, very nicely jointed, so you do get the complete 180. Very nicely done there. And then, again, the hands are your typical master grade joints that you get, so he's going to be moving all the way around, wiggling all over the issues. Now the thing with this one is, again, you don't have the individual manipulators. You do have the standard points where you take it off and you put it back in. So that's, I don't like that too much, but it's not bad. It's all right. Um, what else? Okay, now these side skirts are huge, absolutely huge. So now what they have done is basically they've given you a little bit of a mechanism where when they plug in very nicely. Front skirt's gone. Okay, so it's a very, very strong joint. So I'll take that off a little bit later if I can. Okay, so now what's going to happen with this guy is that if you can look at this, you've got a bit of a notch on that side, right at the bottom there. And the way this works is that you've got these little holes in where the side skirts snap in. So depending on how you put it in, you can actually dictate the angle that it goes in, which is really good, and it's a much, much securer connection than you would normally be able to get. And then once it's in there, then you can pretty much forget about it. It's kind of locked in. So just be a little bit careful when you're actually doing that, just to make sure, because this is a very, very tight fit, if I can actually get it in. But once it does go in, it is a very tight fit, and then you've got absolutely nothing to worry about. It's going to stick there. The side skirts themselves do have a little bit of mobility in terms of there. It's got a nice swivel joint over there. And these points themselves, again, have a little bit of flexibility, not too much more. These parts don't move. And then these skirts, for a little bit extra, do come out. And then you can get some nice details in there as well. So that's pretty cool. I actually like that. So the front skirts do move up quite a lot, and that's mainly for the transformation, so they can go completely out of the way. The back skirt itself doesn't have too much, it's just a little bit over there, and again, it's just kind of dwarfed with all the other skirts that you have there anyway. So this is the only other piece, by the way. This is the only one piece that I found is a little bit finicky. It does like to pop off, so a little bit of glue is probably going to help it out there. The legs themselves, again, if you do that to the side, you can see it's pretty big. And then to the front, again, huge, not bad at all. I mean, for a kit to do all of that stuff is pretty good. And again, it's going to be mainly for the transformation and all that. And then the bend itself is also very nice. You just have to be careful, because the trouble is this guy has so many different things that are just kind of sticking out all over the place. So you have to make sure that they don't, hit or pop things off. Otherwise, you can see it's got almost a 180 bend, which is not bad. And things move in and out, very nicely done. Okay, so now the feet itself also do move around. They're basically on a ball joint. So it goes all the way up, down, left, right, moves in and out. And the side skirts also do like to move in and out as well. So you've got no issues there. So that's that. So as you can see, this guy does have some pretty good articulation. Nothing that's going to be, really issuing it out. It's nothing that's really going to cause any problems. Just a couple of small things, which, you're going to expect from a kit like this. I remember the first time when I was making the Zeta Gundam. Oh my god, I absolutely hate that kit. I still have it because I can't get myself to throw anything away. But that guy, I wouldn't mind throwing him away because he is such a bad kit. I have so many pieces falling off. You know what? I'm just going to put this to the side because it's being a pain. It had so many pieces falling off. It had so many issues. I just did not like it. Okay, one last part. The backpack itself also does have a little bit of mobility. Not too much. It does move in and out a little bit like that. And that's going to be used a lot more for the transformation to make it look a little bit better. But that's pretty much it in terms of articulation. This guy is pretty good. The only thing you have to be careful of is that you don't start knocking things off, because there are a lot of pieces that are sticking out, that are jutting out, and all that sort of stuff. So once you have got this guy done and ready, just make sure that he doesn't move around too much, or just make sure he doesn't bang into a whole bunch of other things. Okay, so now in terms of accessories, this guy does come with a few things. Not too many, but he does come with a few things. First off is obviously the shield. Now this guy it's a decent shield. I mean, it's nothing over the top or anything like that, but it's pretty decent. And the way it works is you've got this little bit of a peg. You can put it down here, for example. And as you can see, if my arm doesn't pop off, you put the shield here, and he's got your pretty natural Gundam state with the shield. It's not that bad. The only issue is I think that it's really long. Normally, I think the shield would stop around this area. Now, just because it's got this huge claw type of thing, dagger type of thing on the jutting out already where the shield should have been, so this guy is going to be on the front and he is going to be going down, which is alright. It's still not that bad. You don't have that much of the mobilities because it is basically a peg that is going into the hole. So, you know, it's not got that much. The maximum you're going to be able to do is something like this, and then you've got it a little bit different. But, you know, that's okay. But the shield itself is okay. It's not that bad. After the shield, you also get his main weapon, which is this huge thing. Now, this thing is pretty cool. It's easy to build, but you know, the thing is, there's a lot of small parts, which if you do take off, it does make it fairly simple for you to paint. So right now, it's just this big gray hunk of plastic, and I'm sure after you get it painted, this guy is going to end up looking pretty cool. So that's not that bad. You also get these effect parts, and you have 4 of them, one basically for each one of these dagger type things, claw type things that come out, and it's very easy to put it on. I mean, this basically just slides right on there, just like that. And then you've got these huge effect pieces. They're okay. I've tried them on the mobile suit mode, but it doesn't look as good as when it does when it's in mobile armor mode. Then it looks pretty cool, and it looks pretty deadly actually. So you get 4 of these, one for each claw. And then finally, the only other thing you do get are the different hands. Now, like I said, you don't get the single finger and then the 3 fingers. You get the different parts that you can just plug in and out. So apart from the ones, the closed fists that are over there, you also get these, which are basically the open hands. And they're okay. After that, you also get 2 of these, which are basically the open fist, or, you know, these hands. And finally, you get 2 of these, one for the right, one for the left, which is basically for the gun hand. And that's pretty much it for the accessories. You don't get too much more at all. Okay, so the transformation for this guy is not exactly the easiest, and it is, like all other Gundam transformations, it is a little bit on the finicky side. So I am, when showing you how to actually transform this guy, I will do it in sections. So I may not end up doing the entire thing on video. It might be a little choppy, but you'll get the exact idea of how this guy is going to be transforming. So basically, the first thing you got to do when you want to transform this guy is to take off the hands, or the entire arm. I may have an issue with this, guys, by the way, so don't worry about that. First thing you want to do is pop off the actual hands. You will not need them for the mobile armor mode, just like that. And then the second thing you want to do is with the head, which is pretty easy. First thing, if that thing doesn't pop off, is using this thing, push it all forward, just like that. And then you can move the V-fins in, just like that. So once all the V-fins are back, you move this entire thing all the way to the back. Once that's done, then you come all the way to the back. Now if you remember from the build video, this thing actually plugs in there. So what you need to do is take this whole piece off, and it is going to basically come back down. Just like that. Then you can see this whole thing can go all the way back down. And what's going to happen is that we're basically going to be doing this. Just like that. And this thing will go all the way down, and you will plug it in, so you're kind of like hiding the head, which is, you know, the best you're going to get. And then this thing is going to be the back part of the actual claw, which is kind of cool. I kind of like the way they do this. And the main reason that they have these huge side skirts is because they're going to come up and kind of hide it from all the way here. In fact, what you're supposed to do is actually take this. You can move that thing to the top, and then this thing will plug into the side to give you a little bit of added hidage. Is that even a word? Basically help you hide the head and all the Gundam parts. So once that part is done, and this part is like this, then we come to the front to do a whole bunch of other things. I'm just going to take this off. Okay, so the next part, we just move this out of the way, is a little bit tricky, because what you need to do is basically, if you look over here, these 2 parts, you're technically supposed to pop them out, and once you pop them out, you're supposed to make them go to the sides, and this would be for both sides. And once that happens, you're supposed to turn them around or make them come to the front, which is a little bit of a hassle to do. It's not exactly the easiest thing to do. Comes out, if you can see, and the same thing we do on the other side. It's basically just popping it out like that. There we go. Now once that's done, and then you're supposed to turn it around, so it's going to go into the back like that, and then you can shove it back in again. It's basically to get these thruster type image or piece to the front, so you can make it look like this. There you go. You can see that? So it's like that. So this whole part is going to be there. This whole waist section is going to be coming out as well. So, but that is for a little bit later. We will come back to that. Just plug it back in. Okay. So now we've got the head down, we've got the back part up, we've got the thrusters part done. The next thing we want to do is actually move this thing up and up like that. So this guy looks like he is going to be covering that part. See, doesn't look that bad. Small parts are going to be falling off, which are perfectly fine. The next thing we want to do is, if you have the legs, is just turn them out to the side like that. I'm going to keep everything like that for now. We will move that thing later, but turn your legs around so they're moving out to the side like that. So now when you have that, the next thing you want to do is physically move these 90 degrees to the side, so they're like that. And if I can actually do this in advance, so this guy is already going to be like that, and if you can imagine, he will be in there just like that. And then the arms, okay, let me do this turn by turn. Put this down. What you're supposed to do with the arms is actually extend it. If you can see that one. So this thing extends out that way, just a little bit. And then you can bring this part out like that. Oops. And you've got this part almost done. Just like that. You can actually put it all the way in there. So it looks somewhat like that. And then this part is going to be plugged in there. Same thing on the other side. If we do that, so this part is going to extend out like that. This part is going to come up on top. And then this part is going to go in there. And if you just plug in, the only thing you have to make sure is that the hands, when they are here, this is I've done wrong. So basically you just have to make sure that the hands come in this way. So the you could say the blade part is basically at the top. So it goes in that way. Alright? So this is going to go in like this. This part is already up here like this. Everything is hunky-dory. Everything is cool. Just like that. Now with the legs, again, we do almost exactly the same thing. So we break this out. We bring this down like that. So he's got these things extended out. Same thing on this side. We bring it down like this. And then we can bring it all the way to the top like that. Alright. And then once you've got him in this kind of like a crab kind of formation, what you're supposed to do is basically turn him. So he's supposed to go in something like this. And remove this guy. I already warned you, this guy has a very weak shoulder on this side. Same thing on this side, you are supposed to turn him out. So now the thing is, these guys are basically pointing this way, so if you can see this way. What it says in the instructions for you to do is to turn this guy around this way. So the legs go this way so that the blades are on the top, so it's almost like it's the other way around if you can see it on that side. Yeah? Okay, so now that you've come to this place, like this, what it tells you to do is to bring these things together and keep turning this way all the way, so including the shoulders. You keep turning it on this way. Even this one you turn all the way around like that. Once this is done, what it tells you to do is to lift this whole thing. So this whole thing becomes like this. You can see it going on this way. You can see that part opening up there. This part can actually come in this way, tucks in over there, and you've got this thing here. Now you can see the starting of the resemblance of the final thing. Alright? Once this whole thing is opened up, you're very close to being done. Okay? Just make sure this thing is tucked in properly. I haven't found if this thing plugs in anywhere as yet. I don't think so, but that's pretty much it. And then once that is done, what you can do is move everything in so it becomes in down this way. So you move this down, move this in like that, okay, like that, and then you can move in like this, and move this in like this, and you can see you're pretty much done. The only thing you're left now with are just a couple of things of just making things run properly, making things look good, and you can just do that by moving things around and just plugging them in properly. And that's pretty much it for Aegis Gundam's transformation. As you can see, he is pretty much now the claw. So the only thing you want to do now is, like, for example, just move the limbs in there a little bit. You can make him a little bit closer, for example. I actually prefer it when he's out a little bit bigger like this. He looks a little bit more menacing. Otherwise, he is pretty much done. The only other thing, if you want to do, you can probably put in the effect pieces on the tops over here, so you've got big yellow claws coming out. I'm not going to do that because I still want to do a whole bunch of work on this guy first, so I'm going to do that part first. Otherwise, the transformation is done. It's not that bad if you compare it to, say, for example, Zeta Gundam, or if you compare it to even, Delta Plus, one of the newer ones that came out. It is 10 times better transformation wise as compared to them. You have fewer pieces falling off. Okay, fine, I've got a couple of the side pieces, the front skirt pieces falling off, but apart from the loose shoulder on one of my arms, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this guy. Everything else was fine. The transformation is fairly straightforward. It's not that bad. And once I was doing this, I didn't actually feel like that I was going to be doing a whole bunch of mess, and things are going to be flying all over the place. So it's not that bad. And this guy does have a couple of very, very cool small points. Like, for example, this thing. So if you take this out, you actually have, if I can show you, you've got a small gun that comes out. I don't know if it's showing it there, but okay, so basically you've got that over there, you've got over here, basically on all the limbs you've got a piece. I just took it off, but basically you've got a small piece and you can take it out, and you've got these hidden guns and all that sort of stuff. So it does have a couple of small places where it just adds to the final product, these small touches here and there, and you've got the fins there. So if you do paint up this guy is gonna look pretty cool. And it's a simple transformation. It's not that bad. You do it 2 or 3 times and you'll be doing it easily. And the biggest thing is that I did not feel that if while transforming this guy I'm going to be knocking pieces off, and things are going to be breaking, and I didn't feel that. So thank God. That's all I can say. Alright guys, this is Ace. I hope you've enjoyed the review. I hope you enjoyed the transformation. If you have any questions or anything like that, let me know. I am going to be going and painting this guy now. I don't know what color scheme to do. I'm thinking about that, but I'm going to work on that now. Alright guys, this is Ace. I'll see you guys at the next video.